How to make someone obsessed with you. Stoic Life Lessons, Stoicism. The greatest power in life is the ability to control how others perceive you. Welcome to Win Stoic. In today's video, we dive into the secrets of becoming a modern Stoic. It's not just about gaining respect. It's about making people not only like you, but become completely obsessed with you. We'll explore psychological weak points, how to spot them, and use them to your advantage. From validation to the fear of failure, I'll show you how to control your interactions and leave a lasting impact. Don't miss out. Watch till the end to master these life-changing techniques. Number 1. The difference between liking and obsession. Understanding the difference between someone simply liking you and someone being genuinely obsessed with you is a powerful insight, one that can change the way you build connections and influence others. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The same principle applies to human relationships. When someone likes you, it's often based on a surface-level connection, something that comes naturally without much effort. But obsession, that's something far deeper, a level of connection that goes beyond liking, where someone is so drawn to you that they can't help but think about you, to the point of seeking you out. This type of influence doesn't happen by accident. It's a skill, one that requires understanding a person's weak points, those areas of vulnerability that everyone has, but most people don't acknowledge. The key is learning how to trigger these weak points at the right moment, making the person feel like they're seen and understood in a way that no one else has ever done. Think about it in terms of modern relationships. When you meet someone, whether it's a potential business partner, a friend, or even a romantic interest, there's always an opportunity to dive deeper than small talk and discover what truly moves them. This is where high-value men distinguish themselves. They understand that people don't just want superficial approval, they crave something more. They want to feel special, valued, and understood. It's like when you meet someone and instantly feel a bond because they seem to understand something about you that others don't. That connection is not accidental. It's the result of skillfully triggering their emotional weak points, the things that make them open up and become genuinely engaged. And here's the real lesson. In today's world where everyone is distracted and people often go through the motions of social interactions without truly connecting, those who understand how to engage on a deeper level can easily stand out. Take the example of a man who, after years of struggling to connect with others in meaningful ways, finally mastered the art of influence. He realized that it wasn't just about impressing people with his accomplishments or talking about himself. It was about understanding what truly mattered to them, what motivated them, and what fears or desires drove their decisions. By recognizing these emotional weak points, he was able to form bonds that felt genuine and long-lasting. This type of approach doesn't just create fleeting attention, it builds a foundation of trust and admiration. In fact, by learning to trigger these emotional triggers strategically, you can win not just in relationships, but also in life. The Stoic life lesson here is clear. The difference between being liked and being obsessed over comes down to the power of understanding and connecting with someone on a deeper emotional level. When you make someone feel understood and valued in ways they've never experienced before, they won't just like you, they'll be drawn to you, unable to resist the pull of that connection. It's not manipulation, it's mastery of human connection. And that, my friend, is the true essence of winning in any relationship, whether personal or professional. Number 2, identifying weak points in people. In our quest to understand human behavior, there's a Stoic life lesson that reveals a powerful truth. Every person, regardless of how confident or composed they may seem, has vulnerabilities. These are not weaknesses in the traditional sense, but rather emotional or psychological aspects that can be leveraged to create a deep connection with them. You see, everyone has four main weak points, things that drive their reactions, fears or desires in such a way that they are almost always open to influence. But here's the kicker: in nearly everyone you meet, one of these weak points will be stronger than the rest. If you can identify and understand these weaknesses, you hold the key to making a person truly invested in you. Now, let's break this down. Imagine you're in a social setting and you've just met someone who seems unshakable, someone who carries themselves with poise and confidence. What if I told you that even this person has an emotional trigger that, once you discover it, gives you a way to connect with them more deeply than anyone else can? What could that trigger be? Could it be a desire for approval, a fear of failure, or maybe a longing for recognition? When you understand these vulnerable spots, you can communicate in ways that make them feel truly seen, heard, and valued. For example, take the story of a young entrepreneur, Alex, who struggled to get attention for his startup. He had everything on paper: ambition, a strong product, a great pitch, but what he lacked was a deep understanding of the people he was trying to impress. One day he met a seasoned investor at a conference, a man known for his high standards and sharp judgment. Alex noticed that this investor often spoke about his legacy, about leaving something meaningful behind. It wasn't just business for him, it was personal. Alex, being sharp and observant, asked him questions about his values and vision, not just his portfolio. In doing so, Alex hit on one of the investor's core desires: to feel that his life's work mattered. In the following months, Alex cultivated a relationship with the investor that went beyond business deals. By recognizing the investor's emotional weak point, the desire for significance, he made himself someone that the investor not only trusted, but felt deeply connected to. This kind of understanding is crucial for anyone who wants to build powerful, meaningful relationships. So, think about it. How well do you know the people around you? Can you identify the emotional needs or weak points that might be influencing their actions and decisions? Are you leveraging those insights to connect with them on a deeper level? In a world where many people are disconnected and seeking validation, those who are able to understand and empathize with others' vulnerabilities naturally stand out. I value men, the ones who are able to command respect and admiration. Aren't those who only talk about themselves or their successes. They're the ones who understand human nature and use that knowledge to form lasting, impactful connections. So, next time you find yourself wanting to create a deeper connection with someone, think about their emotional weak points. What drives them? What do they fear? What do they long for? And how can you speak to those desires in a way that makes them feel not just acknowledged, but truly important? By doing this, you'll master the art of connection, and with time you'll find that people are drawn to you, not because of what you say, but because you understand what they need. The Stoic life lesson here is clear. Those who master the art of understanding others' vulnerabilities are not only able to create influence, but also lasting, genuine connections that leave a lasting impact. And that is how you create real obsession, not through manipulation, but through deep, authentic understanding. Comment below: I understand and respect other people's weaknesses. Your sharing can help others learn how to create deep and meaningful connections in their lives. Number 3. How to detect a person's weak points. Human behavior is complex, and constantly shifting, much like a straight line that rises and falls with different emotions, situations, and reactions. However, there are moments when that line doesn't just rise or fall, but suddenly spikes. This spike is key. It's when a person's emotions or thoughts become heightened, often revealing a sensitive or vulnerable point within them. As you learn to spot these spikes, you'll begin to notice the areas that people are most sensitive about, and this is crucial when it comes to understanding their weaknesses. Think of it as tuning into a frequency. Once you catch that spike, you've discovered something that the person holds near to their heart, whether they show it overtly or not. This ability to recognize emotional triggers is at the core of developing a Stoic mindset, one that helps you understand how people think and feel without being swayed by their reactions. As the famous philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you master this skill, you don't just gain insight into others, but you gain the power to interact with them on a much deeper level. Have you ever noticed how a person might suddenly become defensive, irritable, or overly emotional during a conversation? This is the moment when you've hit that spike, revealing their vulnerability. It could be something simple, like a remark about their past, a compliment they don't believe, or a statement that challenges their identity. The key is recognizing these shifts as opportunities, not as obstacles. When you can pick up on these sensitive areas, you can approach conversations with a greater sense of understanding and care. You may even find that, with time and patience, you can influence someone to open up more, building trust in the process. Now, think about this. Why do you think certain topics make people uncomfortable or defensive? Is it because they are ashamed, insecure, or afraid of being judged? The Stoic happiness we often seek is rooted in understanding these emotional responses, not exploiting them, but acknowledging them in a way that promotes growth and connection. A person's weaknesses are not there to be manipulated, but to be understood and respected. By tuning into these spikes, you are given a unique opportunity to show empathy and care. So, as you practice your awareness, ask yourself, how often do you stop to really listen to what makes others react in certain ways? Are you aware of their emotional spikes, and what do you do when you detect them? The Stoic mindset encourages us to embrace these moments of insight as stepping stones toward deeper relationships, where you not only understand others better, but also grow in wisdom and compassion yourself. The key lesson here is that understanding people's vulnerabilities isn't about taking advantage of them. It's about recognizing their humanity and responding with empathy, not judgment. Number 4, recognizing spikes in behavior. In life, there are moments when people's emotions spike unexpectedly, when something you say or do makes them react strongly, whether through their tone of voice, body language, or even in the words they repeat. These are not just random shifts in behavior, they're signals, indicators that you've touched on something important to them. In fact, recognizing these spikes is a crucial Stoic life lesson that can teach you how to build deeper, more powerful connections. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. In relationships, the best way to win someone's attention, affection, and even obsession is not by manipulation or deceit, but by understanding and responding to their emotional triggers in a way that demonstrates genuine care and insight. When someone's emotional state shifts suddenly, especially if they repeat a phrase or react with heightened intensity, it's often because something within them has been stirred, whether it's a fear, desire, or belief that is tied deeply to their personal experiences. These spikes in behavior provide you with an opportunity to connect with them on a deeper level, showing that you understand what they are feeling and thinking. For instance, let's say you're having a conversation with someone, and they suddenly snap, or they repeat a sentence over and over. That's your cue that you've hit on something powerful, something they're struggling with or deeply care about. It could be a past hurt, a hope, or a fear that they haven't fully processed. Recognizing these emotional spikes is not just about observing reactions, but about responding thoughtfully. In modern life, whether in personal relationships or professional settings, this skill can elevate your interactions. For example, when someone seems frustrated, but they start repeating a statement, it's often a way of expressing vulnerability. Instead of ignoring it or brushing it off, acknowledge it, delve deeper, and use it as a gateway to offer understanding or to provide a different perspective. The real power comes in how you respond to these spikes. By showing that you've picked up on their emotional shift and addressing it in a considerate, non-threatening way, you become someone who doesn't just listen to words but understands the deeper, unspoken meanings behind them. This is how you win stoic in life, by cultivating the ability to recognize when someone's emotional defenses are lowered and using that moment to build a meaningful, lasting connection. By honing this awareness, you turn every conversation into a chance to deepen trust and create a bond that goes beyond surface-level interactions. Number 5. Types of weak points. Once you've developed the ability to recognize emotional spikes in others, the next step is to understand the different types of weak points that everyone has. These weak points are the areas of vulnerability that we all carry with us, often without even realizing it. When you learn to identify these weaknesses, you unlock the potential to truly connect with others on a deeper level. These are the gaps, both emotional and psychological, that people subconsciously want filled, but often don't know how to express. Think about it. Have you ever noticed someone's reaction when they feel left out, unsupported, or misunderstood? That's usually a sign that their emotional vulnerability has been triggered. By learning to spot these weak points, you can approach them with understanding, showing that you're tuned in to what matters most to them. This is where the power of the Stoic mindset comes in. It's not about manipulating or exploiting people, but understanding their needs and desires on a human level. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This can be applied to human connections as well. By recognizing the weak points in others, you don't exploit their wants, but you understand their deeper emotional needs. Once you've identified these vulnerabilities, you'll notice how people react when these needs are either met or ignored. Sometimes it's a fear of not being accepted, a desire for validation, or a longing for reassurance in times of uncertainty. These weak points can vary greatly from person to person, but the key is to approach them with care and empathy instead of seeing them as an opportunity to manipulate. So take a moment and ask yourself, have you ever felt vulnerable about something that you didn't want to share with anyone? What was it that made you feel exposed or unprotected in those moments? We all have these feelings and desires, but they are often tucked away behind layers of defense mechanisms. As you begin to understand the weak points in others, think about how you can be a source of comfort rather than creating further insecurity. This is the essence of Stoic happiness, understanding that true contentment comes not from taking advantage of others, but from creating connections based on mutual understanding and respect. The real strength in identifying weak points lies not in using them for personal gain, but in filling those emotional gaps in a positive way. When you offer understanding, validation, and emotional support, you foster trust and connection. You don't need to exploit vulnerabilities to make someone obsessed with you. Instead, by simply acknowledging their needs, offering a safe space for them to express themselves, and respecting their emotional boundaries, you create a lasting bond that goes far deeper than surface-level interactions. So, think about this. What does it mean to you to be understood on a deeper level? How can you use your understanding of others' weak points to create a stronger, more genuine connection? By recognizing these vulnerabilities, you can turn them into opportunities for true empathy, growth, and trust. Number 6, the thirst for validation. One of the key Stoic life lessons is the understanding that everyone has a deep-seated need for appreciation, but some people crave it far more intensely than others. The desire for validation is a powerful force in human behavior, something we all experience to varying degrees. But have you ever noticed how some individuals go above and beyond, constantly seeking admiration from others, trying to prove they are extraordinary? This is what we call the thirst for validation. It can become a driving force in their lives, influencing their actions and the way they interact with the world. You see, in modern life, many people, especially those who struggle with insecurity or a lack of self-worth, become obsessed with gaining approval from others. These individuals often feel the need to talk about their successes, showcasing their achievements at every opportunity, hoping someone will recognize their value. High-value men, however, understand how to manage their own sense of self-worth without needing constant external validation. They also know how to spot this vulnerability in others and, rather than exploiting it for personal gain, use it to form deeper, more meaningful connections. So, how can you make someone who craves validation obsessed with you? The answer lies in how you provide them with indirect praise. Instead of directly showering them with compliments which might feel empty or manipulative, acknowledge their achievements in subtle ways. For example, when someone is constantly bragging about their accomplishments, instead of outright praising them, you can give a small, measured acknowledgement, like noting how their skills clearly make them successful, or mentioning that their efforts must have required a lot of work and dedication. This indirect praise works because it validates them without feeling like you're just feeding their ego. It makes them feel understood, appreciated, and, importantly, seen. Think about it. Have you ever experienced someone paying you a compliment in such a way that it felt like they truly got you, rather than just saying what they thought you wanted to hear? That's the power of using indirect praise. This approach taps into their thirst for recognition while also giving them the space to internalize their value. By doing this, you create a bond where they feel respected and valued, but they also begin to associate that feeling of worth with you. It's an effective way to draw someone closer to you without them even realizing what's happening. The Stoic life lesson here is clear. Rather than feeding into people's constant need for validation, use it as an opportunity to subtly guide their perception of themselves and strengthen the connection you share. When you make someone feel truly seen and appreciated without overwhelming them, they will naturally feel drawn to you. Over time, this approach will not only make them more attached to you, but will also help them build a healthier, more balanced sense of self-worth. So, next time you encounter someone who seems thirsty for validation, remember that it's not about flattery, but it's about understanding their need and responding in a way that empowers them while subtly forging a deeper bond. That's how you truly win over people in a meaningful, lasting way. Number 7. Indirect praise, the right way to give praise. If you want to truly win people over and capture their attention in a way that fosters admiration and respect, you need to understand the art of indirect praise. In the fast-paced world we live in, we're all constantly looking for ways to feel seen and valued, but direct compliments often feel forced or insincere. As a Stoic life lesson, we can look to the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In this context, the best way to inspire loyalty and respect isn't through flattery or self-serving praise, but through genuinely making others feel appreciated in a subtle, meaningful way. Instead of showering someone with direct compliments, try engaging them in a conversation and seeking their advice on something. When you do this, you not only show respect for their knowledge, but you also make them feel valued and important without ever having to say it outright. This method of indirect praise taps into their desire for intellectual validation, making them feel superior and appreciated at the same time. Think about it. How many times have you felt truly seen and respected when someone didn't just compliment you directly, but instead asked for your perspective on something that mattered? It's not about seeking approval, but about recognizing the value others bring to the table. When you make someone feel that their insights are crucial, you begin to create a bond that goes beyond superficial interactions. In today's world, we can all think of instances where a simple question or acknowledgement of someone's expertise has made them feel more connected and invested in a relationship. Whether it's in business, personal life, or friendships, using indirect praise allows you to navigate relationships with finesse and maturity. Rather than relying on superficial compliments to manipulate or charm, you build a deeper connection by treating others as equals whose opinions and ideas matter. This approach reflects a true Stoic mindset, one that is about fostering mutual respect and understanding, rather than looking for validation in traditional, direct ways. By learning how to offer praise indirectly, you create opportunities to strengthen relationships, grow trust, and ultimately, make those around you feel more important and intellectually superior without you ever having to say it directly. So, next time you want to express appreciation for someone, ask for their advice. You'll see how powerful this subtle shift can be in transforming your connections and fostering a deeper sense of admiration. If you have ever noticed the power of indirect praise and how it helps you build stronger relationships, please share your experience by commenting indirect praise below. Your stories may inspire others to learn how to build deeper and more lasting connections in their lives. Number 8. Joking as praise. One powerful and often overlooked technique for connecting with others is using humor as a form of praise. In the context of Stoic mindset and relationships, we often think of praise as something that must be formal or overt. But what if I told you that joking about something someone takes pride in could have an even stronger impact? As the famous philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In relationships, the way we acknowledge each other shapes the connection, and humor, when used wisely, can help to strengthen the bond in a way that feels natural and light-hearted. For example, if someone is particularly tall, you might make a playful comment like, "How's the weather up there?" By doing this, you're not only acknowledging their height, but also giving them a moment to feel proud of something that they likely hold dear. It may seem simple, but this subtle approach allows them to embrace their qualities without feeling self-conscious or pressured. Have you ever had someone make a light joke about something you were proud of, and instead of feeling awkward, you felt a sense of warmth and understanding? That's the beauty of humor. It encourages a playful exchange while also validating the other person's sense of self. By incorporating humor as praise, you allow someone to see themselves in a positive light without creating the weight of expectation. This approach also fosters a relaxed environment where people feel safe enough to be themselves. Think about it. When you use humor in this way, you're inviting the person into a shared moment, almost as if you're on the same level with them. This isn't about mocking or diminishing them. It's about celebrating their uniqueness in a way that feels fun and effortless. By doing so, you create a deeper sense of connection, and over time, this can foster loyalty and a sense of closeness. The stoic happiness you cultivate in these small interactions comes from recognizing the power of humor to uplift others without overstating the praise. It's about keeping things light, allowing space for genuine connection, and helping others feel good about who they are without the pressure of needing constant validation. This technique also plays into the broader understanding of how small, thoughtful actions lead to bigger impacts, both on your own mindset and in your relationships. The key lesson here is that humor can be just as powerful as formal praise, especially when used in a way that respects and celebrates the other person's identity. So next time you see someone you admire or want to connect with more deeply, try using a light-hearted joke to celebrate something they take pride in. By doing this, you'll find that the bond between you grows stronger, all while keeping the energy playful and genuine. By understanding and exploiting these psychological weak points, you can become an expert at making people obsessed with you. It's important to use this knowledge responsibly and wisely. Remember, emotional manipulation can be powerful, but it must be approached with caution. If you want me to continue this social skills series, please let me know in the comments. This was the Dark Needle, and I'll see you in the next video. Applying psychological techniques to influence and manipulate. In this section, we see that humans are complex creatures with a myriad of factors that influence their psychology and behavior. In relationships, we not only face our own emotions and thoughts, but also have to deal with the weaknesses of others. Psychological weaknesses, if properly identified and exploited, can have a strong impact on their behavior and decisions. Psychological techniques such as fear of failure, emotional reassurance, or changing perspective after rejection are all powerful tools for influencing the behavior and emotions of others. This article will analyze common psychological weaknesses and how to apply techniques to impact and influence these weaknesses, thereby creating changes in the behavior and thinking of others. Number 1. The fear of failure. Have you ever noticed how the fear of failure can hold us back from achieving the things we truly want? Whether you're striving for a prestigious position, a big promotion, or a significant life goal, there's a powerful force that often stands in our way: the fear of failing. In fact, this fear can sometimes be so overwhelming that it clouds our judgment and paralyzes us, preventing us from making progress. However, by applying Stoic life lessons and understanding how to navigate this fear, you can not only overcome it but turn it into a strength that propels you forward. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The fear of failure is a universal experience, something that affects everyone at some point in their lives. When you have lofty goals, whether it's landing a dream job, getting into an elite university, or setting out to accomplish something that requires great effort and risk, the fear of failing can become a heavy burden. This fear often brings with it a paralyzing effect, making it difficult to take action or even dream big. But here's the secret that many successful people understand: failure is not the end, it's a part of the journey. The truth is, the fear of failure is nothing more than a mental block that stops you from taking risks and trying new things. As men, especially those in their prime years, we often view failure as a threat to our self-worth or reputation, but this is where Stoicism offers a valuable perspective. Stoic life lessons teach us that failure is inevitable and even necessary for growth. The key is not to avoid failure at all costs, but to develop resilience and learn from it. To win as a Stoic, you must learn to harness emotional reassurance, not just from others, but from within yourself. When fear of failure strikes, instead of succumbing to anxiety, embrace the Stoic mindset by focusing on what you can control and accepting what you cannot. Emotional reassurance isn't about offering quick fixes, but about creating space to reflect and offering supportive words to build confidence. It's like the Stoic practice of visualizing challenges, preparing mentally by acknowledging that failure isn't a reflection of your worth, but an opportunity for growth. In today's high-pressure world, this mindset is essential. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Obstacles become opportunities, and setbacks are stepping stones toward success. Remember, it's not the failure itself that defines you, but how you respond to it. By embracing Stoic life lessons, you can overcome fear and thrive in adversity. Number 2, emotional reassurance as a technique. In the journey of understanding how to make someone truly admire and trust you, one essential skill is emotional reassurance. When someone opens up to you about their fear of failure, it's easy to jump into problem-solving mode, offering advice and solutions. However, the Stoic life lesson here is different. The true strength lies in offering emotional support first, allowing them to feel heard and understood. As a high-value person, your role isn't to rush in with answers, but to provide a space where they can express their fears freely. By listening attentively, you show that you value them not just for their achievements, but for their struggles too. After they've shared their worries, you can offer hope. This isn't about giving them an immediate fix, but showing them examples of people who have faced similar challenges and still succeeded. Stories of resilience, perseverance, and triumph over adversity can ignite the spark they need to keep moving forward. Think of someone like Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When you share these kinds of stories, it encourages the listener to believe in their own ability to overcome. Have you ever been in a situation where you were on the verge of giving up but found the strength to keep going after hearing someone else's story of success? That's the power of reassurance. When we understand that failure is part of the path to success, we are more likely to embrace challenges rather than shy away from them. The message here is simple yet profound. As a high-value person, providing emotional reassurance doesn't just make you more trustworthy, it helps others believe in their own potential. By offering reassurance rather than solutions, you're guiding them toward their own inner strength, teaching them that the journey is as valuable as the destination. In modern life, think about the countless times you've witnessed people pushing through setbacks, from entrepreneurs who face financial collapse but rise again, to athletes who suffer injuries but come back stronger. These examples show us that failure doesn't define us, it refines us. Remember, the next time someone expresses doubt or fear, don't just offer advice. Instead, listen, offer hope, and remind them of the countless others who have walked this same path and succeeded. By doing this, you're not only teaching them a Stoic life lesson, but also showing them the power of resilience and the importance of emotional reassurance. A comment with the phrase emotional strength through reassurance to let us know you're applying this Stoic principle to your life. Don't forget to follow along. Your transformation is going strong. Number 3, the 3 types of responses to problems. Have you ever been in a situation where someone comes to you with a problem and you aren't sure how to respond? It happens to all of us, and understanding how to navigate these moments is key to building strong relationships, whether personal or professional. According to the Stoic mindset, the way we respond can have a profound impact on how we connect with others, and more importantly, how we influence them. When someone shares a problem, they're often looking for something specific, and it's up to us to recognize which type of response is needed. There are 3 main types of responses people typically seek. They might be looking for advice, venting about past struggles, or sharing emotional concerns. Each of these requires a different approach if we truly want to be helpful. Think about the last time someone came to you with a problem. What did they want from you? Were they looking for solutions, or did they just want a sympathetic ear? It's easy to slip into problem-solving mode, but often the best thing you can do is listen and provide emotional support. For example, if someone is venting about something that happened in the past, they don't need advice, they need validation. They're processing their emotions and just need someone to acknowledge their experience. On the other hand, when someone comes to you with a question, seeking advice, that's the moment where you can step in with your expertise and provide practical guidance. But remember, when someone shares their emotional concerns, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remain silent and let them express their feelings. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that our ability to remain calm and composed, offering support without overstepping, can have a deeply positive effect on others. As Epictetus wisely put it, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say. In modern life, especially in relationships, understanding how to distinguish between these types of responses and knowing how to react accordingly can help you develop a deep, meaningful connection with others. So the next time someone comes to you with a problem, pause and ask yourself, what does this person really need from me right now? Are they looking for advice, simply venting, or hoping for emotional reassurance? Mastering the art of listening and responding with the right level of support is an invaluable skill that can help you not only foster stronger bonds, but also lead a life aligned with Stoic happiness and inner peace. Number 4. Reassurance through real-life stories. Have you ever faced a challenge so daunting that it made you question whether success was even possible? It's a feeling many of us know all too well. But what if I told you that one of the most powerful ways to overcome those fears and doubts isn't just through willpower or hard work alone, but through the power of real-life stories, sharing success stories from people who have walked a similar path and triumphed can inspire hope and spark the belief that you too can achieve your goals. This is a vital lesson from Stoic philosophy, the ability to look beyond your immediate struggles and see examples of resilience and success as a way to cultivate strength. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he means is that obstacles are not barriers, they are opportunities for growth. And when you look at the success stories of others, you realize that those obstacles, just like the ones you're facing, can be overcome. Real-life stories not only provide a roadmap for navigating challenges, but also offer a sense of community and connection. They remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. Whether it's someone who turned their life around after a major setback, an entrepreneur who risked everything to build their business from the ground up, or a person who overcame self-doubt to land their dream job, these stories show that success is possible, even against the odds. But here's the thing, it's not just about the story itself. It's about how you choose to internalize it. Stoic life lessons teach us that external events are beyond our control, but how we respond to them is entirely up to us. By sharing stories of perseverance, we empower ourselves to believe that if others can succeed, so can we. It shifts the focus from fear of failure to hope for success. In today's world, where everyone seems to be racing toward the next big thing, it's easy to get lost in comparison or feel like we don't measure up. But when you take a step back and look at the real-life stories of those who have gone before you, you'll find that many of the most successful people didn't have a perfect, clear-cut path. They faced obstacles, failed along the way, and yet kept moving forward. That's what it means to win as a Stoic. It's not about avoiding challenges, but rather embracing them, learning from them, and using them to fuel your progress. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by your goals or fearful of failure, take a moment to reflect on the stories of those who came before you. Understand that their struggles were not unlike yours, and that their success can be your own. In doing so, you'll not only overcome your own fears, but you'll also cultivate the inner strength to achieve what once seemed impossible. The power of real-life stories is a timeless tool in building confidence, and by applying these Stoic life lessons, you'll find that you have the strength to not only meet your challenges head-on, but to triumph over them. Number 5. The power of silence in conversations. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation where someone is opening up about their fears or struggles, and you instinctively feel the need to respond quickly, offering advice or solutions? It's natural to want to fix things, but sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. In a world where we're often urged to speak up, solve problems, and offer guidance, it might seem strange to think that silence could be the most effective response. However, this is exactly what Stoic life lessons teach us: the power of restraint and the strength that comes from listening deeply. Silence doesn't mean disengagement. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It means giving someone the space they need to express themselves fully without the pressure of someone trying to solve their problem. In the quiet moments, we give others the chance to process their emotions, reflect on their thoughts, and even find their own answers. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This is a profound insight into how we should approach communication, especially when others are vulnerable. Think about it. When was the last time you truly listened to someone without interrupting or rushing to give advice? By simply being present and letting silence fill the space, you allow the person to experience their emotions without feeling judged or rushed, which can be incredibly healing. For example, in a modern-day situation, think of a friend who's struggling with career decisions. They may come to you feeling uncertain, looking for reassurance. While your first instinct might be to tell them what they should do or to list off a series of solutions, instead, try just listening. The silence between your words can give them the emotional room to process their thoughts and feelings more deeply, and when they speak again, their own insight may surface. This isn't to say that advice doesn't have its place. As high-value men who practice the Stoic mindset, we know that offering advice is a tool for helping others, but it's one that should be used wisely. After giving someone the space to reflect, your guidance will be far more effective because it will be framed in the context of their own clarity and decision-making. This power of silence is something that many high-value men have mastered. Think of influential leaders or successful people. How often do they rush to speak without first listening? Rarely. The best communicators know when to talk and when to pause, allowing others the time they need to gather their thoughts and express themselves. This is what makes their words more impactful when they do speak. When you apply the Stoic life lesson of embracing silence in your conversations, you allow the other person to take ownership of their emotions and find the answers within themselves. This builds trust and strengthens your connection. People will begin to value your presence more because they will feel heard and understood. So, next time you're in a conversation where someone shares their fears, instead of rushing to offer advice, take a deep breath, practice patience, and allow the power of silence to work for you. It's not about saying less, it's about giving more space, more trust, and more understanding. In the end, the value you bring as a high-value man comes from your ability to listen, to understand, and to offer reassurance when it matters most. Remember, sometimes the greatest gift you can give is simply your silent presence. Number 6, the role of self-worth in reassurance. Have you ever noticed how easy it is for someone to doubt themselves, especially when they're faced with a challenge or fear? We all have our moments of insecurity, and sometimes what people need most isn't advice or solutions, they need reassurance. But not just any reassurance. They need to be reminded of their worth, their strengths, and the unique qualities that make them who they are. This is where the Stoic mindset can truly make a difference in how you relate to others. You see, a key element of Stoicism is understanding that our self-worth doesn't come from external validation, but from our own ability to control how we think and react. This is the foundation of Stoic happiness. When you help someone recognize their own worth, you aren't just telling them they are enough, you're showing them that they have untapped potential that far outweighs any fears they may have. Think about it. How often do you see someone doubting themselves, thinking they aren't good enough, and your first instinct is to rush in and solve the problem? But what if, instead of giving advice or trying to fix things, you gently remind them of their strengths? What if you ask them to reflect on the qualities that have helped them overcome challenges in the past, or the unique skills they bring to the table? This isn't about simply telling them they're great, it's about helping them realize for themselves just how great they are. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This idea is central to helping others realize their potential, showing them that obstacles are not barriers, but opportunities to grow and demonstrate their capabilities. So, when you focus on someone's strengths, you're encouraging them to see the bigger picture. You're helping them shift their focus from their fears to their abilities. And over time, as they begin to believe in their strengths more deeply, they'll naturally start to tackle challenges with more confidence. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in comparison or external pressures, and that's when people often forget how valuable they truly are. Think about someone you know who might be struggling with self-doubt. Perhaps they're facing a big decision, dealing with a personal setback, or simply questioning their abilities. What if you reminded them of the qualities that have gotten them this far? What if you helped them see that their fears, while real, are not insurmountable? By doing so, you're helping them tap into their inner strength, reinforcing the belief that they can overcome anything. Helping someone recognize their own worth doesn't just benefit them, it strengthens your relationship with them, as it shows that you care about their well-being and growth. It's a gift that goes beyond words and directly impacts their mindset. As a high-value man, practicing this type of reassurance, grounded in the Stoic mindset, can deepen the connection you have with others. It allows you to offer something more meaningful than advice. You're offering them the clarity and belief to see their own potential. The next time someone you care about shares their fears or insecurities, don't rush to fix it. Instead, help them understand their own value. Remind them of the unique qualities that make them who they are, and help them see that their potential is far greater than their fears. In doing so, you'll not only help them grow, but you'll also strengthen your own sense of purpose and fulfillment by embracing the true spirit of Stoic happiness. Number 7. Understanding psychological trauma. Understanding psychological trauma is a powerful and often overlooked way to connect with others on a deeper level. We all carry some form of baggage, and one of the most common and relatable forms is emotional trauma. Take, for example, a man who is being rejected by a woman. This can cut deep, often leading him to believe that he's not enough or that something is fundamentally wrong with him. It's a feeling that, if not addressed, can linger and become a psychological scar. But here's the Stoic life lesson that can change everything. Trauma, while painful, doesn't define us. The key is not to let it shape your identity. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. This quote reminds us that our thoughts, not external events, have the power to determine how we experience and respond to the world. By changing how we interpret these challenges, we can transform them into stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. For a man dealing with rejection, the goal isn't to rush in with advice or solve the problem. Instead, it's about shifting his perspective, helping him see rejection not as a personal failure but as a natural part of life, something everyone experiences. Rejection doesn't make you less of a man, it simply means that there was an incompatibility in that moment. Think about the countless successful men and women who have faced rejection, whether in relationships, careers, or personal goals, but used those experiences to learn and grow. This is where the wisdom of Stoic principles comes into play. Instead of focusing on what went wrong or on your weaknesses, focus on what you can control, your reaction. A man can either allow the rejection to define him, wallowing in self-doubt, or he can take the higher road, recognizing it as a chance to reflect, improve, and move forward. There's a saying that the most beautiful people are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, and have found their way out of those depths. It's these moments that build true strength and resilience. For high-value men, the real power lies not in avoiding pain or rejection, but in facing it with a calm and composed mindset, embracing the idea that every experience, no matter how painful, is an opportunity for growth. This is the essence of Stoicism, learning to win not by avoiding challenges, but by becoming stronger through them. In modern life, we often look at successful people and think their path was smooth, but the reality is that their success came with its own set of rejections and setbacks. Whether it's in love, career, or personal growth, no one escapes the sting of rejection. What truly matters is how we react to it. If you can learn to manage your emotions and view trauma through the lens of resilience, you will not only help yourself but also become a beacon of strength for others. This Stoic approach, focusing on resilience and perspective, will not only make you stronger but will also inspire others to rise above their own psychological scars. Leave a comment below with the words "I'm ready to heal." Stay tuned to the end, because there's a crucial stage you'll feel, one you don't want to miss, one that will help you recover and emerge stronger than ever. Number 8. Shifting perspective after rejection. Rejection. We've all faced it at some point in our lives, and it can sting deeply. Whether it's being turned down for a job, a relationship not working out, or any other form of rejection, the impact can feel personal, like a reflection of your worth. But here's where the Stoic mindset comes into play. It teaches us that our value is not determined by the opinions or actions of others. In fact, one of the most powerful things you can do after experiencing rejection is to shift your perspective and reframe how you view the situation. Instead of seeing rejection as a blow to your self-worth, try to view it as a sign of a mismatch or simply something beyond your control. This is a crucial Stoic life lesson, the ability to detach your sense of self from external outcomes. Let me ask you, how often do you take rejection personally? How many times have you assumed that someone's no means you're not good enough? The truth is, rejection says far more about the other person than it does about you. Rejection often comes down to timing, circumstances, or preferences, none of which have anything to do with your intrinsic value. For example, think of a time when you applied for a job or put yourself out there in a personal situation, only to be rejected. At first, you might have felt devastated, believing that it was a reflection of who you are. But what if you stopped to consider that the other person or company might have simply had different needs or goals? What if you realized that rejection might have been an opportunity to avoid a situation that wasn't meant for you? That's the power of reframing a Stoic approach to rejection that can help ease the emotional pain and rebuild your confidence. High-value men understand that rejection isn't the end of the road. Instead, it's a redirection, a course correction. By shifting the lens through which you view rejection, you stop internalizing it and start using it as fuel for growth. You think of the stories of successful people who were rejected countless times before finding their way. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the very company he founded, before returning to revolutionize it. These stories show that rejection is not the final word. It is merely a part of the journey. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." This reflects the Stoic belief that it is not the external events that cause us pain, but rather our interpretation of them. When you begin to see rejection not as a reflection of your worth, but as an opportunity for growth, you free yourself from the emotional burden it creates. You become stronger, more resilient, and better equipped to move forward. So, the next time you face rejection, whether in your career, relationships, or personal aspirations, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this as a stepping stone to move forward rather than letting it hold me back? By practicing this Stoic mindset and reframing rejection, you will not only ease your emotional pain, but also build the resilience and self-confidence of a high-value man. Rejection is not the end. It's a chance to grow, adapt, and come back even stronger. Embrace it, learn from it, and move forward with purpose. Number 9, the first for sex, protecting yourself from manipulation. In the realm of relationships, there's a subtle but crucial truth that many often overlook. Desire, especially sexual attraction, can be used as a powerful tool for manipulation. You see, for many men, the allure of sex can sometimes cloud their judgment, leading them to make decisions based on fleeting emotions rather than sound reasoning. It's an unfortunate reality that some women, aware of this dynamic, may try to use sexual attraction as leverage, intentionally or unintentionally. So, how do you protect yourself from falling into this trap and maintain control of your emotions and decisions? The answer lies in adopting a Stoic mindset, understanding that your worth is not defined by another person's attention, affection, or sexual interest. As Marcus Aurelius, a great Stoic philosopher, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful insight is a foundation for developing emotional resilience and self-control. By recognizing that you are in control of your thoughts and actions, you free yourself from the emotional manipulation that may come your way. It's easy to get swept up in the heat of the moment, but a Stoic mindset helps you see past temporary emotions and focus on what truly matters. The truth is, you must first learn to respect yourself, to understand that your worth isn't tied to sex or attraction, but rather to the qualities that make you a valuable person in any relationship. Protecting yourself from manipulation starts with self-awareness. Ask yourself, are you making decisions based on genuine connection and respect, or are you being influenced by external pressures, like the promise of sex? If you're seeking validation through sexual attention, you're vulnerable to manipulation. Sex used as leverage isn't about intimacy, it's about control. This is where Stoic happiness comes in. True happiness comes from cultivating inner peace, not seeking approval from others. When you realize your value isn't based on external validation, you free yourself from manipulation. Think about how much more empowered you would feel if you acted from a place of reason, not emotional impulse. The Stoic approach helps you stay grounded, calm, and rational, even in the face of temptation. It's about acting with inner strength, not desperation. You reflect on how often outside influences shape your behavior. By practicing self-control, you can protect yourself from manipulation and create healthier relationships. Next time you're faced with temptation, take a step back. Ask if the connection is genuine or if you're being led by temporary desires. A Stoic mindset allows you to act with principle, not impulse. Your true happiness comes from within, and by standing firm in your values, you protect yourself from manipulation and cultivate deeper connections. Live the Stoic happiness that comes from clarity and purpose in your decisions. Mastering influence and understanding human behavior can transform your interactions and help you attract meaningful relationships. It's not about manipulation, it's about connecting authentically by recognizing emotional triggers and responding with wisdom. True power lies in mastering yourself. Cultivate your self-worth, understand others' emotional weak points, and build deeper relationships based on respect. How will you apply these Stoic principles to strengthen your connections and protect your inner peace? If you found value today, like, comment, and subscribe to Win Stoic for more insights. Share your experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear how you're using these techniques. Stay strong, stay focused, and embrace your power.